Hello, all guys, gals, and non binary pals. Welcome to the newest episode of the Noobs and Knockouts podcast, taped on Twitch and brought to you on YouTube, on Spotify, on Google, and Apple Podcasts. I'm Austin. I'm a knockout, watch a lot of wrestling.
I'm David. I'm a noob. Haven't watched nearly as much wrestling, and I am your resident Nyla Rose reply guy.
Yes, unfortunately, yes, that you have been. You did get Nyla Rose to reply to you on Twitter.
Senpai noticed me. This is a few weeks late, but fucking, I think it was during Revolution. Senpai noticed me.
Pretty
Um,
sure.
yeah, yeah, or no, wait, no,
It
it
was.
was
I
it
think it
was the
was the
Dynamite
Dynamite
before. It
before.
was the Dynamite before. Yeah, fucking Nyla Rose tweets out a graphic about Ring of Honor is all elite, and I replied like, damn, did you just like have this graphic ready to go? And she's like, and she replied to me, she's like, actually, no. And then her reply ratioed me, and I was like,
Of
God
course.
damn it, fine.
I replied, and she didn't reply to me about when she immediately had HLA's All Elite ready
Yeah, because she already
at
replied to the Noobs
Revolution.
and Knockouts podcast once about whether or not her graphics are pre-prepared.
Yep. Okay. Uh, so tonight we are going to watch an episode of Monday Night Raw, and I can't wait to talk
Ugh,
about what that's going to be.
fucking hell! Why are
But
we doing this again?
because I thought it would be, I'll tell you why we're going to do it actually, is because when I initially thought we were going to record this episode, it would have been the 22-year anniversary of the week when this episode aired on Raw.
Ah, I see.
But we have delayed till now. And that is why we're also going to start this podcast, because the day this is recording on March 15th, and that's a day after the death of Scott Hall.
Yes.
So we're gonna, before we get into our stupid shenanigans of the day, would like to talk a little bit about Scott Hall, because he passed away at the age of 63 this week. And he's I didn't really want to do a full tribute episode with Scott, because the way we did with Brody, because Brody was an active wrestler that I knew a lot about and could adequately put together an episode for. But I do want to talk about Scott Hall now. And Scott Hall, his big claim to fame was basically in the AWA in the late 80s. He was in a tag team with Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. And then he came to the WWF as Razor Ramon, the bad guy. And we've seen a bit of him on this show as Razor Ramon. And fun story about Razor Ramon is that basically, if it kind of feels like he's doing a Scarface knockoff, it's because he was.
He is.
Yep. And allegedly, Vince McMahon had never seen Scarface. And so he didn't realize that's what Scott Hall was doing and thought Scott Hall was just a creative genius.
So good. Still so hilarious to me. That I'm not surprised either. Vince McMahon never comes the fuck out of his bubble. Oh, such a good story.
Yes. But then in 96, we have talked about this aplenty on this podcast. In 1996, he jumps to WCW. He kicks off the NWO angle with his all-time classic promo. You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. And he basically spends the rest of his major career in WCW as Scott Hall, as part of the NWO and the NWO Wolf Pack and the Outsiders and all that. And then he does have a brief run back in the WWE when they buy out WCW and they bring back the NWO in 2002. And then after that, he kind of steps away for the most part. Short run in TNA 2, I think. And I'll bring up some great moments and matches for Scott Hall. But I want to also bring up, before we do that, kind of like his story is also one of I think it's one of the great comeback stories in wrestling, because especially during his main career, his drug and alcohol addictions were a consistent problem, to the point that literally WCW made a character out of it. Last Call, Scott Hall, where he was a drunk on TV.
Oh God.
It was not good. But it was always been a problem for him. And he was kind of like one of those wrestlers that as someone who got in at 2012, when he was still kind of like known for just being a drug addict these days,
Yeah.
like he was one of those wrestlers you kind of just thought was going to die from drug related reasons, and he'd be another tragedy within the wrestling business. And while 63 is still probably a bit too young to be dying, he got a lot of years from himself, had a lot of years left, and he turned it around because of the help of DDP, Diamond Dallas Page. They became friends when they were in WCW, and DDP, he kind of opened his home to Scott Hall the same way that the DDP did to Jake Roberts. And he gave Scott Hall a support system and a way to kind of get clean, and got him on the DDP yoga to kind of get his body back right. And like the last 10 years of his life, he got to his legacy was kind of, I'm not necessarily fixed, because even if he had died younger, he still would have had a legacy as a wrestling character, but it kind of allowed him to kind of be healthy enough to be get the WWE Hall of Fame and start doing interviews and appearances and autograph and cons and all that stuff again. And he kind of got to I think I saw someone on Reddit put it, is that DDP gave Scott Hall the chance to do a victory lap, is I think the way they put it. And I kind of agree with that. And Scott Hall was famously such a sweet guy. And so I am more so happy. I'm just really happy that he got this chance to kind of get himself clean from the tail end of his life and kind of overcome his demons.
Yeah. I mean, for me, the thing. I mean, there's that there's that side to him, and it's an incredible comeback story. And from the minute you told me kind of about his history with all that, um it you know it was overwhelmingly awesome to hear, like, oh my god, here's one of the wrestlers that didn't have to become like a tragic statistic. He made it through, and thanks to the help of someone like DDP, who was just a phenomenal friend to him. That's always been something I've associated with him ever since you kind of told me about that, and it's one of the most inspiring things you could ever, one of the kind of best stories come out of this industry you could hear. But also the thing for me is, kind of through the lens of my increasing wrestling fandom and how we've done this show, is uh, he because I remember we first encountered him as Razor Ramon when we were doing our New Generation angle. I'm like, this guy's kind of fun and goofy, whatever. And then we did the WCW angle, and he showed up and did the "You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here" promo. And I remember that being one of the things on this show that just unequivocally blew my mind. Like, that is up there as one of the most iconic things I have ever watched uh as part of this show. I think that ranks up there with the very first episode we watched, the Mark Henry retirement fake out, just because I wasn't used to swerves as a concept. And then the pipe bomb promo, and then "You want a war, you got one" promo. And he, in that moment, to my mind, I think I went through what pretty much every other wrestling fan of the day who was watching WCW went through. Of He went from this guy who seemed cool and fun and pretty good at what he did, to an icon in an instant, because he did that. And it's so wild to me how just one guy any one random guy in this industry can have one moment that propels them into eternal icon status, and Scott Hall was one of those people. Scott Hall is now one of, amongst wrestling fans, one of the most famous, most well-regarded wrestlers in all of history, thanks to that. And he will forever live in my mind as one of the iconic pillars of the history of this, quote unquote, sport. The
Right. And
man, the man who started the NWO, one of the probably the most famous and most prolific storylines in all of wrestling history.
and it's kind of nuts how many important matches that Scott Hall was a part, and moments and instances that Scott Hall was a part of. And I have a list here of some of his biggest matches that worth kind of thinking about going back and watching. But like WrestleMania 10, when he faced Shawn Michaels in a ladder match, that was the first time a ladder match had ever happened in the WWF on TV.
Yeah.
And that kind of exploded the concept for people. And then obviously the NWO promo kind of catapulting the kind of the next wave of popularity for wrestling with the NWO angle. And by the way, a story that is kind of not, that is passed around a bit here is that Scott Hall was the inspiration for Sting to become the Crow.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yes, is that when Sting, if we've seen him on this show a lot, I don't think we've ever really done an arc where Sting is his black face paint emo.
No, we haven't.
That he is for the rest of his career. But Scott Hall pitched to him the idea like, hey, you ever seen the Crow? He's kind of this dark, mysterious kind of character. And like the Crow is supernatural. Sting wasn't. But Sting took that aesthetic and like, that's what Sting's known for. Sting has kept that aesthetic the entire rest of his career.
Yeah.
And him, when he was like colorful face paint boy, was still extremely successful. He won the world championship in WCW under that gimmick. But the black and white, moody, emo face paint Sting is what he's known for. And Scott Hall can take credit for that one. So kind of a quick list of some matches that I think that like if you're really I took this from a picture on Reddit, and so if I know of the match and there's any interesting context to give, I will give it. But so the match they list here is kind of Scott Hall and Ric Flair versus Randy Savage and Mr. Perfect from Survivor Series 1992. That was Razor Ramon's big debut. Scott Hall versus Bret Hart for the WWF title at Royal Rumble 93. Scott Hall versus Bob Backlund at WrestleMania 9. Scott Hall versus the 1-2-3 Kid on Raw in June of 93. That was actually the birth of the 1-2-3 Kid as a character, because the 1-2-3 Kid was a jobber and he was known as the Kid, or they gave him some silly nickname. And then he beat Scott Hall on Raw in an upset, and so he became the 1-2-3 Kid.
Yeah.
And then versus Rick Martel in September of 93 on Raw. Shawn Michaels, the ladder match at WrestleMania 10, obviously. Versus Scott Hall versus Diesel at SummerSlam 94. We watched that one.
Yeah. I forgot we did.
So much interference from you had who was that running back trying to enforce the rules?
Oh shit.
And didn't do it well at all.
No.
Actually.
Ref, where you at? Ref.
Yeah. Razor Ramon versus Jeff Jarrett at Royal Rumble 95. Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels ladder match again at SummerSlam 95. Razor Ramon versus Vader in Your House 7. With Kevin, the triple threat, the 6-man match at Bash of the Beach 96 with Kevin Nash against Sting, Randy Savage, and Lex Luger. The War Games match at Fall Brawl 1996, where it's Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Hulk Hogan, and NWO Sting. That's a thing. It makes sense in the story. Versus Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Lex Luger, and Sting. The Outsiders versus Harlem Heat at Halloween Havoc 96. The Outsiders versus the Steiners at Super Brawl 8. Scott Hall versus Sting at Uncensored 98. Scott Hall versus Hiroshi Tanahashi in New Japan in September 2001.
Wow.
Hulk Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall versus Stone Cold and The Rock on Raw in March of 02.
Fuck. Okay.
They just did that. They just did Stone Cold and The Rock versus the NWO on Raw.
That's insane.
And then his last really big significant match, Stone Cold versus Scott Hall at WrestleMania 18.
fucking nice.
And then, of course, on top of that, you also have The Resurrection of Jake the Snake Roberts is a documentary that is obviously primarily about Jake Roberts. But it also talks about Scott Hall, too. It's all part of that story of them, like, coming into DDT under DDP's care and getting clean and all that. So if you'd like to see more of, like, Scott Hall's recovery and comeback story, The Resurrection of Jake the Snake Roberts is a good documentary for that. And then, honestly, his WWE Hall of Fame speech is pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, I watched that yesterday. I watched that, when news was going around that he was going to be taken off life support, and I mean that final line. I think that's kind of the things about him is even if Razor Ramon as a character wasn't the most technically original concept, you do have to give it to him. This was a man who clearly understood how to engage with the crowd, and you can see that time and again in his career and engage with people in general based on some of the phenomenal things people had to say about him. Like, he came up with the Razor Ramon idea, and instead of making it like a really fucking dumb Scarface parody, like kind of made it his own thing, and it was awesome. He was the one who led the charge with the NWO with that phenomenal promo. He was the one that gave Sting the Crow the Crow idea. He helped popularize the ladder match. He was also such a good in-ring worker. This is clearly a very dynamic man, and and above all, I think it feels really cool to see somebody who had the brain to be as good at this shit as he was, really get the prizes he deserved out of having that skill set, and even get to come to his own kind of personal happy end, being saved from the brink of self-destruction.
Hard work pays off and dreams do come true. Bad guys don't last. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
Yeah, I mean, and that line is what really clinches it of like he said that, and now that's a line that I'm sure with his passing is going to become immortal. So yeah, I'm so happy, we got to cover like one of the things that brought him into icon status during his lifetime on this show. And because it feels cool, I think, to know who this man was upon his passing in order to properly tribute him.
Yep. So rest in peace, Scott Hall. And now we move on to our regularly scheduled programming today.
Which is far less dignified.
No, okay. So I have mentioned in passing on this podcast that that wrestling pregnancy angles only ever go two ways. It's either a real pregnancy, in which case, obviously, a woman gives birth, or it's a fake pregnancy, and it's just kind of an excuse to eventually have a miscarriage. And on some level, you get that, right? Like trying to do a fake pregnancy, trying to do a kayfabe pregnancy has a lot of issues.
An alternative, if I may, what if you just didn't do fake pregnancy
That
angles?
was, in fact, what I was getting to, is what if we simply didn't do storylines where someone was pregnant?
Thank you.
However, there is one shining beacon of an exception to this storyline, to this thesis.
Why?
Mae Young, our favorite horny geriatric.
I do love me some Mae. I will give you that. I do really love me some Mae Young.
It is the year 2000, and we are watching Monday Night Raw, the one where Mae Young gives birth. And I'm not going to say how that goes, but I can assure you, whatever you think is going to happen probably isn't it.
What the fuck?
So, it's the year 2000. WWE is flying high, man. Like,
yeah,
they have never had a better year in their goddamn lives in terms of being both critically and financially extremely successful.
Yeah, and they're watching their competition sink into the fucking abyss.
Yep, we are on WCW's side. We're about a month off from them literally stripping everybody of every single title and just starting over.
Yay! And then getting bought out in just a year or two anyway.
Yep. So what this episode of Raw is the February 28th, 2000 episode of Raw, which is conveniently the Raw after their most recent pay-per-view, No Way Out. So
Nice.
I'm just going to tell you what happened at No Way Out and kind of explain the storylines that led into that. It'll go there.
Okay, it works for me.
So instead of starting with the main event or something, let's start with the thing. Let's start with this Mae Young thing.
Christ.
Get it out of the way.
Oh,
So
God.
Mae Young is pregnant. Who's the daddy? It's a good question. The daddy is Mark Henry.
I'm sorry, what?
You see, at this point in time, Mark Henry was sexual chocolate.
Yeah, I've wondered about that angle.
Sure. Basically, the rumors I've heard was that about this is that basically they gave Mark Henry a big fat fucking contract when he originally signed with the WWF. And then they realized, wait, he's green as shit and sucks. Then we are paying him too much money. What if we gave him stupid storylines and got him to quit?
Wait, what?
That's the I don't remember the full details of that. That's the rumor I'd heard about this. About why he was sexual chocolate. But it's like he was basically the ultimate a ladies' man. And one of those ladies was he had sex with Mae Young, and Mae Young got pregnant.
Oh, boy. Oh, no. I'm sure everyone
do not question the fact that Mae Young is in her 70s and has thus definitely gone through menopause by now.
Look,
Don't
Mae
think
Young is a fucking virile cougar. She can go she can go for decades and never quite hit that menopause button, okay? Clearly.
Yeah. So Mae Young and Mark Henry are an item. And the funny thing is Mae Young has not done anything different than she usually does, actually. She's still going around being Mae Young, but JR is just now like, come on, Mae, you're with child. Don't do this.
JR, how many times has JR called her a Jezebel?
None. He's not calling her a Jezebel.
Oh, thank God. Small, little graces. Oh, boy.
Then Mark Henry beat Viscera, the former Big Daddy V, the future Big Daddy V, I should say. And I don't know. Viscera's still recovering from being part of Undertaker's dumb demon cult. So God. He's just a big boy right now.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so Mark Henry beat Viscera at the pay-per-view. So now let's cover the other shit. Triple H defeated Cactus Jack in a Hell in a Cell title versus career match for the WWF Championship.
Oh, shit.
There's a lot of moving parts to this. So first, Triple H is the WWF champion, and he is with Stephanie McMahon, and they are the McMahon-Helmsley regime. Vince has been pushed out of the picture, and Stephanie and Triple H are the evil owners of the company right now.
If I had a nickel for every time Triple H usurped Vince McMahon in on-screen leadership, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
Yep. All right. So time to talk about another squicky storyline on this podcast again. But this is a lot better than the other one.
Another one with fucking Triple H too. God damn it.
Thankfully, this one is a lot better than the other ones we've talked about because it is retconned. I'll explain. I'll get the full explanation. So, in the fall of 1999, Stephanie was engaged to be wed to Test. You know Test. We've seen him a few times by now.
Oh, okay.
Test was kind of getting over as a big-time babyface, and Triple H said, "Nah, how about no? How about we don't do it?"
How about what? How did Triple H say that?
Well, because this storyline completely derails Test for the rest of his career.
Uh-oh.
So basically, they're engaged to be married, and we do the wedding angle on screen. And again, you don't all wrestling weddings go wrong.
Oh God.
And here's how this one went wrong. At the marriage ceremony, they get to the part like who objects, and out comes Triple H. And Triple H explains that Stephanie McMahon cannot be wed to Test because Stephanie McMahon is already married. And we roll the footage of Triple H and Stephanie, who is clearly unconscious, in a car doing a drive-through wedding in Vegas. And Triple H, he fakes talking for Stephanie when necessary, but he drugged Stephanie and then married her. and a drive-through wedding. And then Triple H in his big wham line was like, and don't worry, Vince, we made sure to consummate the marriage.
So this is now 2 storylines in the early 2000s.
If you had a nickel for every time we had to do a Triple H storyline involving sexual assault, you'd have 2 nickels.
I can't even say it's weird that happened twice because it's Vince. If anything, it's weird that it only happened twice.
Well, no, 3 times. The Kane Lita thing too. We already talked.
True. I guess. Well, I'm counting Triple H only, but sure.
Yeah. Okay.
If we're not counting Triple H, there's a lot more sexual assault angles to be had than just those 3. But that's neither here nor there.
But as I alluded to, this was retconned. Basically, Stephanie turned heel on her dad and joined Triple H, and thus it was retconned that it was all part of a scheme that Stephanie Tote was not drugged and forcibly married and raped by Triple H. No, that was all consensual. All part of an evil scheme.
She got consensually drugged.
Oh, she was just faking it. Was the gov.
Okay, yes,
but basically the idea is that I have casually mentioned it on this show. I mentioned it a few minutes ago. Vince McMahon's the Undertaker's demonic cult. And the big angle from that cult was they kidnapped and tried to marry Stephanie so that Undertaker could get control of the company.
What?
And it was revealed that the true leader of this group was Vince McMahon, who was doing all this as an excuse to fuck with Steve Austin. And the thing is that none of Vince's family was in on the bit. Stephanie didn't know that this was all a scheme by her dad. So when she learned that it's all a scheme by her dad, she was like, actually, you know what, Dad? Fuck you. I'm pushing you out of the company and taking over. Which, truthfully, she can join Johnny Mundo with the most reasonable heel turns of all time, really.
Yeah, that's fair.
So after she was like, remember when you let your coworkers kidnap me, Dad?
What the fuck is this story? You can tell this is around the time Vince was like, I want to make the backstage segments more like a soap opera. Because like, holy shit, what is this plotting? What is this overly complicated, weirdly incest pervy fucking telenovela that we're being subjected to watch on the side of wrestling?
Pretty fucking weird, not gonna lie.
Yeah, what the hell?
But in the end, Triple H and Stephanie are married. They're evil Waha running the company, and then
is Vince the relative good guy here?
Yes.
Go fuck yourselves. What the hell?
So, anyway, they've been fighting Cactus Jack, who Mick Foley brought back that persona to fight Triple H at the Royal Rumble for the title. And Triple H won.
Okay.
And then Mick Foley was like, listen, the only thing I have left I want to do in my career is main event WrestleMania. And the only way I'm going to do that is to beat you. So I want one more chance. And Triple H is like, you're on, but if you lose, you have to retire. And so they have their match, and Triple H wins. So Cactus Jack has to retire.
Wait. Point of clarification. Does Cactus Jack have to retire, or does Mick Foley have
It's
to retire?
implied it has to be Mick Foley entirely.
Damn it!
But listen, this is not Mick Foley's retirement.
I was
Spoilers
wondering
to tell.
about that.
Okay, so that's that. The next match is Big Show versus The Rock to determine the number one contender for the WWF Championship at WrestleMania 2000. So at the Royal Rumble, The Rock wins the Royal Rumble, except they botched the ending. So The Rock accidentally has his feet touch the ground. And so technically, Big Show should have been called the rightful winner. And in fact, Big Show went on a whole crusade point. They weaved in the botch into the storyline where Big Show's like, hey, wait a minute. Rock's feet were down. I won. I should be going to WrestleMania.
Oh my God.
And because The Rock is The Rock, basically all he had to do was, yeah, well, you're a whiny little bitch. And everybody agreed with The Rock.
The Rock says literally anything. Everyone else,
Basically.
Oh God, the fucking the poisonous abilities you have when you're just that over. God damn it. What the fuck?
But then they have the match to determine who is the number one contender. And Shane McMahon showed up to screw The Rock out of the match and got Big Show the win.
What?
So Big Show's going to WrestleMania.
Okay. That's kind of dope.
Yeah. And then next match we have a 6-man tag match between Too Cool, that is Rikishi, Scotty 2 Hotty, and Grandmaster Sexay versus the Radicals, which was Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, and Perry Saturn.
Okay.
So the quick answer for Too Cool was basically they were just these two dudes who hip hop danced and they were over as shit.
Okay.
Because it's the year 2000.
And everyone loves that hip hop dancing.
They're very fun characters, but there's not a lot to them to talk about.
Fair enough.
Now let's talk about the Radicals. So the Radicals, basically they're kind of propped up a lot as like symbolic of where WCW was at the time. Because basically all at once, 5 of WCW's biggest stars that weren't like established names all wanted to leave.
Okay.
As Benoit, Malenko, Perry Saturn, Eddie Guerrero, and Shane Douglas.
Oh shit.
And they all conspired together to leave and go to WWF. WWF said, we like all of you except Shane Douglas. So they're like, okay, bye, Shane. Fuck you. We're leaving.
Wow. Go fuck yourself.
You can keep yelling about the franchise over in WCW for all we care.
Jesus. Okay.
But then the Radicals, they debuted on Raw by like sitting in the front row and apparently disrupting the show. And in fact, JR just yelled into his this entire first appearance like these radical gentlemen, these radicals. Where it was like, dude, you're really trying to push that's their name, huh?
Yeah.
But whatever, they show up and cause havoc, and it is revealed, and this is something that gets forgotten a lot in the history of these characters, is that they were brought in as invited guests of Cactus Jack.
Oh. Okay.
So they show up and they're like, hey, we would like jobs, please. And Triple H is like, you know what? You really interrupted my show, and I don't like that. So you're all going to have to win a bunch of matches on SmackDown if you want jobs.
Isn't that technically giving them a job anyway?
I mean, if you can have a wrestler on AEW who's had like 59 matches who isn't technically signed to your company.
Wait, who is that?
Wardlow. I was making a joke about Wardlow and what his character is supposed to be.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. I mean, he has a job, technically.
Sure. Then they have their matches on SmackDown, but they don't succeed. And so it seems like they're not going to have a job, except after they lose, Triple H cuts them a backroom deal where he says, I'll give you jobs anyway if you betray Cactus Jack. And they're like, we love you, man, but also we need money. So they turn heel on Cactus Jack, and now they are in the company as the Radicals.
Thank you, JR, for really getting that over in a very subtle way.
All right, now we got X-Pac versus Kane in a no-holds-barred match. Holy shit. This is one of Kane's weirder storylines that don't involve sexual assault.
Thank God.
So, Kane at this point is again a big old baby face.
Yay!
And X-Pac was his friend. They even teased at the idea of Kane joining D-Generation X and getting like a green and black outfit.
That is hysterical.
Would have been sweet.
I love that.
And he has a girlfriend. Kane has a girlfriend, Tori.
What? Oh, nice.
And then X-Pac betrays him and steals his girlfriend. And shoots a flamethrower in Kane's face. And so Paul Bearer has come back to support Kane and help him through this difficult time of losing a girlfriend to X-Pac,
Noted.
And it's the year 2000 because Jerry Lawler is very comfortable using the R word on commentary, calling Kane the Big Red.
No. Jerry Lawler, man of class and tact. Fuck you.
Yeah, so they have a no-holds-barred match and X-Pac wins.
Of course he does. Oh, wait. Yeah, I'm actually fine with either outcome.
Mm-hmm. All right, then the next match, it was a Taz versus the big boss man. This is kind of Taz showing up for the first time in the WWF, coming in only a month earlier and at the Royal Rumble 2000.
Nice.
And immediately, they don't really know what to do with Taz.
I mean, it's pretty obvious. You get the human suplex machine. You have him. You have him do a lot of suplexes.
But you see, here's the problem with that, David. Is I'm taller than Taz.
Oh no! He's short.
Short boy can't be suplex guy. So that's just not gonna work.
He's short. No! Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. God damn this company. Holy shit.
So, to be upfront and fair and balanced, TMC and R, Taz had also had a lot of neck injuries that were starting to catch up to him. So I don't know how much more he could have gotten accomplished in WWF anyway.
Okay.
But they also didn't try very hard to put him in a position to succeed.
Nice. Yay.
And as a proof of that, this Taz versus the Big Boss Man match goes 47 seconds when Prince Albert, who is just a big, hairy, big guy, attacks Taz. So this goes 47 seconds.
Sure.
All right, the next match is Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys for it to determine the number one contender for the tag team championships. I mean, do I really need to explain to the audience here Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys?
Not particularly, no. I mean,
they're basically just four dudes who were really cool and young and attractive.
Yeah.
Hardys are a little more emo, and Edge and Christian are a little more conventionally pretty boy.
Yeah.
Other than that, you got it.
Edge and Christian shop at Abercrombie. Hardy Boys shop at Hot Topic. That's about all you need to know.
Yep. So they, as well as the Dudley Boys, have been revolving around the tag team championships in the last month. But the Dudley Boys ended up getting the title match at the pay-per-view.
Hey.
And so Edge and Christian and the Hardys have the number one contenders match. And so here's the thing is that what happened was Terry also hired the Acolyte Protection Agency to protect her in this match. That's That's Bradshaw and Farouk. We've seen them on this show, but this month was when they debuted the gimmick of like, what if we let people pay us to be bodyguards / kick people's asses?
Nice.
So they're the Acolyte Protection Agency, and Terry hired them, and they're at ringside the whole match. And it's a good thing she did too, because she decided to turn heel on Edge on the Hardy Boys. Terry Runnels was their manager at the time. She turned on them and cost them the match. And so after the match, the Hardy Boys try to be like, "Hey Terry, what was that?" And so the APA beat him up.
Oh, well, fuck you.
They care about their protection.
They care about the money they're getting paid.
Oh yes, I forgot to mention, Viscera attempted to do a body splash onto Mae Young, but was stopped. Great.
Well, okay.
Viscera, attacker of pregnant women.
You know what? I'm comfortable with giving him that title.
All right. Then we got the Dudley Boys versus the New Age Outlaws for the tag team titles.
Oh, God.
You know, the Dudleys are the Dudleys. We've explained them a couple of times on this.
Yes, we have.
They love putting women through tables and shit. That's their way to get heel heat. You ask yourself, it's not easy to be a heel team whose gimmick is we put people through tables, because wrestling fans are a bunch of sadists who enjoy seeing that kind of violence. So how do we get people to hate us? I got it. We'll attack innocent women. That's how we'll get people to hate us. It works. It works for the Dudleys. It works for Pentagon Jr. and Lucha Underground.
It used to work for heel Randy Savage way back when.
Mm-hmm. And the New Age Outlaws are, Billy Gunn and Road Dogg. I mean, they're just two very 90s guys. Billy Gunn is Mr. Ass. He loves asses.
Okay.
Road Dogg is just a dude. It's hard to explain Road Dogg as a character.
Billy Ass and the Ass Boys.
They're technically heels, but they also love doing their catchphrase. Then everyone loves chanting along to the catchphrase.
Everyone loves those catchphrases.
Everyone loves saying "suck it." What do you want me to say?
Will Jericho truly ever not be over if everyone's singing Judas? No, same thing with these motherfuckers here.
Yep. And then the first match from No Way Out was Kurt Angle versus Chris Jericho for the Intercontinental Championship.
Okay.
Basically, Jericho has had a recent face turn where him and Chyna, DX's former bodyguard,
yes,
they were co-Intercontinental champions.
Oh, nice.
Chyna becoming the first woman to win a men's title in the WWF.
Oh, well, good for her.
Yeah, and then they eventually reunite. They eventually fix that problem because you can't have co-champions.
Lame. Well, not for now. You can't.
And Jericho was a big stupid asshole about it because he was a heel. But then after the pay-per-view, the Hollies, who would Crash Holly, the cousin of Bob Holly, was the other person in the Intercontinental title match, the pay-per-view, to determine who is the only Intercontinental title champion. They were harassing Chyna, and Chris Jericho came to her defense. And now Jericho and Chyna are like friends. So Jericho's a good guy now.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
And then Kurt Angle is doing his early days Kurt Angle thing, where he talks about he is an Olympic hero. The three eyes. I need to quickly tell he's the three eyes: intensity, integrity, and intelligence.
Integrity and intelligence. Well, I don't see any major problems with that. Okay.
Basically, he is a good old wholesome boy who is admittedly also kind of an arrogant dickbag. But
yeah, I've seen that one clip of him being like, "I want to talk to you all about the wonders of virginity."
I think I've seen that one before.
Oh, fuck.
Basically, he is like, I'm here to bring class and honor to this great wrestling company. And of course, the crowd is like, boo.
So So Kurt Angle is to
Boo!
WWF as Sam Eagle is to Muppet Show.
Sure, I guess that makes sense.
I believe this program needs to be conducted with class and dignity. It is the American way. Yeah,
Boo!
exactly. And everybody hated him for it.
Yeah, and so Kurt Angle, he beats Chris Jericho. Oh, I forgot. Best promo Kurt Angle's done this whole time is he's the European champion, and he's talking about how he needs to be Intercontinental champion. And the reason for this is that before he became European champion, Europe was doing shit. The economy was bad. There was wars. It was terrible. But then he became European champion, and Europe is on the way up. And so he, your Olympic hero, is going to win the Intercontinental Championship and also fix America.
Kurt, buddy. Oh no.
The Wall Street stock market was the Dow Jones was very keeping an eye on whether Kurt Angle was the champion.
Someone needs to learn the correlation or the difference between correlation and causation.
So yeah, Kurt Angle, he beat Chris Jericho, so now he is the European and Intercontinental champion. The world is saved.
Yay. We did it, Kurt. We saved the world.
Okay, so if you would like to, that is all for us in the build up here. If you'd like to watch the episode of Raw that we are watching is again the February 28th, 2000 episode of Raw. You may do so at Peacock. That is the peacocktv.com, WWE streaming service partner, $4.99 a month with ads, $9.99 a month without ads. I say this a lot. And, that is where you can watch the episode that we are going to watch right now.
Hell yeah.
See ya in the back half where we discuss it more.
Mm-hmm.
And we are back. We have just finished the February 28th, 2000 episode of Monday Night Raw. Mae Young gives birth.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but there was an extremely disappointing shortage of Mae Young in that episode. I needed far more Mae Young per Raw than what I got.
She gave birth in like 10 minutes. I needed more time.
We needed more time.
Videos of this.
Austin,
we needed more skits.
You just fucking subjected me to a random ass early 2000s episode of Raw for about 10 minutes of Mae Young. Why would you do this to me? Top 10 anime betrayals.
I don't know. I thought the episode was decent.
It was fine. It was a fine episode of Raw that I had extremely little context for, and I was like, all right, I want my Mae Young chaos now, please. And it just kind of didn't happen until like past the halfway point, and happened for a total of about like 15 on-screen minutes, if that.
What can I do, really?
Give me more Mae Young. Give me more fucking Mae Young is what you can do.
I didn't think this story had enough legs for us to do a real arc on it, and I maintained
no. I just need more Mae Young in general. If we just did like a Mae Young comp episode, I'd be happy.
All right.
More Mae Young per podcast.
So should we go ahead and talk about Mae Young? We're just going to go in order.
Let's just go in order. Give me something to look forward to at least. Again, the episode is fine, but like, I'm here for the May.
Yeah, all right. So we open with Raw, as I put in my notes. Triple H and Steph promo. Fuck.
Well, okay. I'm interested in knowing why you say fuck to that, because I have a very specific reason for saying fuck with stuff like this. But why do you fuck to that?
Because it is such a trope for them to open Raw with a 15 to 20 minute promo.
Oh, okay. See, I see Stephanie show up and I go fuck, because I'm like, God damn it, I don't want to hear slut chants right now. I'm not in the mood.
Which, to tie this into our last episode, we are once again starting this episode with Triple H coming out to cut a promo gloat about beating a guy he just beat at a pay-per-view and promising to play a video to embarrass them.
Pretty much, yeah. Nickels.
Okay.
We're all so many fucking nickels on this, and by that I mean 6 nickels.
Because that's not even worth the nickels, because Triple H coming out to talk about how he just beat a guy at the pay-per-view is fucking, he did that at monthly.
Okay, yes, but also, did he always have embarrassing video packages to go with it?
No.
2 nickels. We got 6 nickels, baby. Austin, we've made a solid 30 fucking cents in this episode. I consider that a major win.
I guess. So immediately they start with the asshole chants. I took note of that.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. Also, shout out to the the sign of the audience that just says 7 foot 500 pound barrel of monkey piss, which with no context just had
that's what the Rock. That's what the Rock's call. That's what the Rock's been calling Big Show.
Yeah, see, but I you know that the audience, I had no context, so I'm just like, who the fuck is on acid right now and bringing random signs to Raw?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
So I've already given up the game here to make a reference. That was unintentional. I've already given up this twist here. So, but Triple H opens very subdued and tries to suggest that he cannot gloat. That you think he's going to come out here and gloat about how he beat Mick Foley and he's still the champion, but he can't, because he respects Mick Foley a lot.
Respect mankind.
And Mick Foley has to retire now, and so he can't just be out here making fun of the guy. And Stephanie is just like, Hunter, what are you doing? Of course we can do that.
Yeah, she's but sweetie, of course we can make fun of this very popular man who you just forced to retire. It's okay. She got real mad about it too. It's very funny.
Yeah. And then Triple H plays Foley tribute package, actually played straight ?
Yeah, I had that too. Stephanie Mad that the Triple H is honoring Mick Foley, and Triple H's video package is going to be see here I went on a journey with this. It was a play in 3 acts in my notes. Mm-hmm. Act 1, Triple H's video package is going to be a fucking dick move, isn't it? Act 2, heartfelt music over Foley being a goofball, LMAO. But I was thinking in my head like, oh well, maybe it is wholesome. Act 3, there it fucking is.
Yeah, I wrote DX music hits, and there it is.
Yeah, and he's gone.
They hit the D Generation X music. Yeah. Also, then they start showing clips of Mick Foley either getting beat up by Triple H or otherwise looking like a gross buffoon.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah, real shocker there. Also, shout out to the Foley Forever sign. Surprisingly prescient. Always funny to watch these retirement episodes when the person does not, in fact, fucking end up retiring.
Yeah,
we're on. I think we've done like 3 like false retirements by this point. So we have Mark Henry, and Roddy Piper, and
because Mick Foley is gonna main event WrestleMania. I'll go ahead and tell you now that WrestleMania 2000's main event is Triple H versus The Big Show versus The Rock versus Mick Foley.
So was this was the retirement a work?
Yes. Well, Mick Foley did want to retire, but then they were like, "We want you for Mania, so get back out there."
God damn it! Oh yeah, false retirements. You gotta love them. Also, I do have in my notes that shocker of shocker, the WWF fans did indeed fail the "Don't Call Stephanie McMahon a Slut" challenge. Impossible.
They always do.
They always, every time. There's a reason the challenge is.
Stephanie doesn't have to do anything ever to get
Stephanie
slut
blinks.
chance in 2000.
Slut. Okay.
But this Stephanie does decide to do something today, where after the video packages have played, they're laughing their asses off, and Triple H's like, "Ha, sorry, you're gone from the WWF, Mick. Well, good. Now it's gonna be 100 times better." And then Stephanie gets the mic for the first time and is like, don't worry, Mick, is before they called you a fat, pathetic, miserable loser. Well, now they can call you a fat, pathetic, miserable, retired loser. Absolute
get his ass. Man, I love these early 2000s burns that are so they all think they're so much cooler than they are. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
But then
but yeah, then all of a sudden fucking Shane's music hits and out
they play
by Big Show.
At this point it's Shane's music and Vince McMahon's music. So I actually didn't know who was coming out at that moment. But then out comes Shane with the Big Show.
Yeah. And the audience is off the bat treating Shane kind of like a face, which is interesting to see.
It's a bit weird because he is also because it's very weird because he is explicitly pro Vince and anti Stephanie, making him a face, but Big Show is definitely a heel in this scenario, in this larger story here. Even if he has a good point about how he did actually win the Royal Rumble, fuck you. The Rock gets to be like, you're a 7 foot tall, 500-pound pile of monkey piss. Shut up, you whiny little bitch. And that makes him the babyface.
And that makes him
the Rock.
If you're, as we've learned time and again on this show, if you're a babyface in the 2000s, you could get the fuck away with anything.
Yeah. But Shane comes out with the Big Show, and he's there to run down Stephanie for pushing Vince out of the company. His industry that he really grew, and how you broke Vince's heart.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That yeah, I'm sure.
I was like, I sympathize with no male McMahon in this situation. I am fully on Stephanie's side, actually.
Look, Stephanie is also sucks, but Jesus Christ, I will stand with her just to spite all the dumb fucks who will call her a slut for daring to exist.
Mm-hmm. And so Shane is here to put a stop to Stephanie, and he said he's talking about he was waiting for the right moment. He was gonna call his shot. He was waiting for the right guy, the right champion.
Yeah.
And he's like, not you, Triple H, the current world champion, and he runs down the Rock as self-righteous and an arrogant jackass. He's like, not that guy.
True.
He is the right champion is the Big Show.
Honestly, I'm here for this.
Mm-hmm. No, the Big Show is the only non-WWE former WWE champion in this scenario, in this story.
Of course he is.
He's the right one for the job.
Yeah, he's great. Fuck you.
And then they awkwardly stare at each other until the Rock comes up.
Yeah, for some reason it takes a weird amount of time for Rock's music to inevitably hit. They just kind of like stand there in awkward silence, and you're like, and Austin said it, I could not have been more apt than when Austin just yelled line.
But then out comes the Rock to cut a promo, and he starts with, the Rock would like to congratulate the four of you. Not you, Shane McMahon, for coming back and helping the Big Show to win. Not you, Stephanie, for being the biggest tramp walking New York City.
Yeah, fuck you for that, Dwayne.
Yeah. The crowd slut shames Stephanie, and a big reason for that is because Chris Jericho and The Rock play into it a lot.
Yeah, see, I did write during Rock's promo here, just seriously, how the fuck was this guy so over? He could say the dumbest shit, but the audience just lost their minds as if they were hearing the divine words of the Messiah.
Yeah, let's wait till we get to the payoff to this congratulate thing, and we can cycle back to that.
Yeah.
He's like, not you, Big Show, not because you beat me last night at the pay-per-view. And not you, Triple H, for still being the WWF champion. No, I'm congratulating the four of you for being the biggest group of assholes The Rock has ever seen.
Yeah, thank you. That was great. Another sick burn. Very clever. Good job.
Yeah, but the crowd loses their shit.
Yeah.
And call him the biggest group of assholes.
Yeah, and I think at this point, fucking Lawler goes, He can't say that and get away with it. And like he just did. Lawler, what are you talking? He just did. He said that and he got away with it. What the fuck are you saying, you ape man?
And then The Rock rambles some more. He says that he guarantees
that
he is
going
to WrestleMania. And he guarantees that he is going to walk out the WWF champion.
The guarantee was what really clinched it for me. Like that took some effort to say. You have to think about saying the phrase guarantee. That's The Rock putting in the work right there. You know, maybe he did deserve all that praise and adulation after all.
And then Triple H, like a corny dipshit, rebuttals with, "Oh, hey, Rock, this was an A-B conversation. See your way out of it."
Yeah, go fuck yourself. What was that line?
Oh, man, I remember saying that in, like, high school and thinking I was clever.
You actually said stuff like that? I couldn't even... Oh, my God.
Yep. I've definitely said that before. At least once.
Oh, fucking Ohioan.
Sorry, not sorry. So The Rock... So, at Triple H also, though he... And something that was actually funny...
Yeah.
Is the asshole chants get started up again. And Triple H interjects with, "Hey, The Rock is here for your entertainment. You shouldn't treat him like that."
Yeah, you shouldn't call him an asshole. Which I was like, you know what? I appreciate that fucking Uno reverse card of a move on Rock right there. Yeah, and the audience starts booing, and then he goes on to say that, hey, this is a conversation between a title holder and a title contender. Stay the fuck out of it. And the audience is real mad, and this is a big, like, why are you booing him? He's right scenario. Like, yeah, this is correct. The Rock is a pissy bitch who lost. The fuck is he doing here?
Yeah, despite claiming that he isn't a whiny little bitch about losing, he did come out here.
He is very much being a whiny little bitch about losing.
Mm-hmm. But Triple H decides that, The Rock is you need to work your way up from the bottom of the barrel, from the bottom of the ladder. I was like, are you gonna say the back of the line? You're not? Okay,
sure.
That's the most common expression for this situation, but all right.
Yeah, well, why say normal things when you're on fucking WWF TV? You say dumb shit like, this is an AB conversation, why don't you see your way out of it? Okay.
Yeah. So then he puts The Rock in a one-on-one match with New York's greatest claim to fame, the Brooklyn Brawler.
Fucking
and then
based.
They hit their catchphrases, sort of, in that Triple H goes, imitates The Rock, goes, "If you smell what the game is playing," which annoys me because that doesn't make sense. You don't smell a game.
You don't?
And then Shane awkwardly inserts his catchphrase of, you want a chance at WrestleMania. Well, I'll tell you what kind of chance you got. You got no chance in hell.
Yeah. I do want to circle back around to the claim. You don't smell games. Did I hear that correct? I do want to circle back to that. That's not a thing you do? Oh.
No, you do not.
Oh, okay. One more. Okay. I mean, I don't do that. Anyway.
Yes.
Also, wait, I do want to shout out something. Like, I've heard Triple H speak plenty of times, and like I've heard the Triple H impression voice, and they haven't always like lined up for me. This he finally talked that way tonight. Like I finally heard it like actually from him tonight. And it almost made it sound like he was doing an impression of like The Rock's own impression.
I think that's what he was saying he was doing. I think he was trying to mimic how The Rock says he talks.
But even then, it was understated as fuck still. Like he wasn't going like he wasn't talking like this like the uhs were still quite subtle. So I do kind of have to wonder where the hell the like mimic voice of Triple H came from, because it's the
Rock?
subtlest shit ever, and even when he leans into it, it's subtle as fuck.
It comes from The Rock because The Rock emphasizes the "us" when he imitates Triple H.
Why the whatever? Okay, you know what? If it's The Rock, that kind of makes sense. He just like does dumb shit like that, and it just kind of gets over, no matter how like legit it is. Okay, fair.
Yeah. So we then cut to backstage. The acolytes are hanging out, playing cards, smoking cigars as they do.
Yeah, and there's the Hardy Boys show up through the fucking acolyte speakeasy door.
Yes,
in the
they
middle
have
of
a door. They
nowhere.
have a wooden door on a frame, and they demand that you walk through the door, even though this is a big open backstage area.
Yeah,
You can walk around the door.
it's why.
Because the acolytes demand that you do so if they're going to enter, if you're going to try to do business with them. You got to go through the door.
Why? What is the door for?
It's a power move. You got to make them go through the door.
That is a weird power move, but okay, sure.
So the Hardys show up and they're like, "Hey guys, what was that last night? We would like a match, please. We want to settle this. We're not gonna have a backroom fight brawl like you heathens." And Ron and Farouk is like, "Haha, very funny. Sit your asses down, go away." And so the Hardy Boys flip the card table.
Yeah, we're not gonna have a backroom brawl. 5 seconds later, yeet.
And they escape through the door, mind you. And
I guess the power move works, huh?
And that is they transition to the first match of the show. The Hardy Boys.
Okay, they transitioned to an instant replay of like, or not a post commercial replay of just all of that again. They felt that was the most important thing that happened last time to like catch you up with. Okay.
Yeah. So the Hardy Boys come out and they fight the Acolytes, Ron, Farouk, and Bradshaw.
Yeah, it's a match of Hardys like mostly get thrown around, but then kind of like in the last 30 seconds they just kind of win.
Yeah, that can happen. That happens sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, they my specific notes are about they bring up that Bradshaw when I was on CNBC giving stock advice, and he has a very prolific stock portfolio, which will come back into play in a few years when he becomes John Bradshaw Layfield.
Yeah, baby.
Ugh. And so yeah, the Acolytes mostly kind of throw the Hardys around. I wrote Jerry Lawler boomer posts about Jeff's hair.
Oh my god, I didn't even catch that.
Because Jeff Hardy has blue and purple hair.
No.
And Jerry Lawler is all offended at it.
Guarantee you, in the year of our Lord 2022, Jerry Lawler's like on Facebook ranting about purple-haired SJWs.
Probably.
You little.
But the match ends when Jeff Hardy is able to blind tag Matt Hardy, and they kind of and Matt Hardy just quick hits the twist of fate on Bradshaw and gets him for the 1, 2, 3. Okay, goodbye.
Okay, sure. Whatever.
We're leaving. Okay, we're leaving.
Yeah. Then we cut to fucking Kurt Angle backstage, John Silver memeing at some like backstage concierge about his 2 belts.
Oh yeah, he's just rambling about like, hey, do you want to know which of these belts is heavier? Well, the Intercontinental Championship is actually 6 ounces heavier.
And then it cuts to commercial.
Yeah. So the Kurt Angle comes out and does his usual spiel of like making fun of the local sports teams the way that he does things. His specific quote today was, "Unlike Darryl Strawberry, the only thing I'm addicted to is winning championships." Because Darryl Strawberry did cocaine, and he was a baseball player in New York.
Dork, square, get off the stage, fucking narc.
Pretty much, yes. Yes, that is the thing with Kurt Angle. So Kurt Angle
truly is the greatest heel of all by committing the greatest sin of all, being a goddamn narc.
Yep. Fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy.
Actually.
All my homies hate narcs. Anyway.
Yes, so Kurt Angle issues an open challenge, the Olympic challenge for the European title. And out comes Rikishi. Man, I'm getting a lot. We're getting a lot of Rikishi on this show. It's pretty sweet.
You know what? You talked about Rikishi a lot before. I'm glad it's finally paying off.
Yeah. So match number 2 of the evening for the European title is Kurt Angle versus Rikishi.
Yeah.
It's kind of just a match for it's not super long. A lot of the matches on this episode are not super long.
Wow, shocker. Fucking
As I mentioned to David, they have 9 matches on this show, and you can tell that.
Yeah. and yeah, the fucking backstage soap opera ethos. Fuck me. It's so ridiculous how like nothing half these matches feel half the time.
Yeah, but we hit to the end where Rikishi hits a big splash in the corner. And he's got Kurt Angle sitting there. And he is setting it up. And he sticks his big, fat, stinky ass in Kurt Angle's face. With the stink face. And after that, Kurt Angle was like, you know what, fuck this, I'm leaving, actually.
Also, shout out to the wonderful insight on commentary of, that's using all your assets. And I started to type a please shut the fuck up to Lawler, but I think that might have actually been JR.
No, JR said that.
God damn it, JR. Yeah, JR goes, that's using all your assets. Fuck, shut up. Please, God. Stop
so Kurt Angle takes his belts and leaves, and he loses by count out officially because he cuts a promo saying that these people came here for a wrestling match. They didn't want to see Rikishi stick his ass in my face.
Which is like Shawn Spears being against the Powerbomb Symphony level of like absolute delusion about what is and isn't over.
Yes.
I love heels just being like willfully blind to what's actually over. It's baffling.
The crowd very much wanted to see Rikishi stick his ass in your face.
That's kind of the whole point. Kurt, we don't like
Yeah, but thankfully, Chris Jericho is here.
Yeah.
Thankfully. He shows up, and he has the mic, and he goes, now, Rikishi might have a big ass, but you, Kurt Angle, are a big ass.
Fucking got him. Ha!
And so he fights Kurt Angle and throws him back into the ring so Rikishi can hit the Rikishi driver and then the bonsai drop on Kurt Angle.
Yep.
And then the Radicals show up to attack Rikishi, but then they are saved. And then Too Cool shows up.
Too Cool shows up for counterattack. Neat.
Yep. And then after they send everybody away.
Wait, second best part of the episode. Okay, here we go.
It is Too Cool pull out the shades to put on Rikishi so they can do their dance. But then as China and Jericho try to leave, and Sexay and Scotty Doo Hottie are like, no, stay.
No.
And they pull out the yellow shades to give Jericho and China.
Which I have to wonder if these shades are enchanted in any way. Because once the shades are on, Jericho and China both look just enthralled.
Mm-hmm.
And they all light up and they start fucking
and they
dancing.
Do a Too Cool dance.
They all know it. They're all in sync. The sunglasses tell them what to do. It's amazing.
Yep, it is pretty sweet. It was awesome. I loved it.
That was great.
Everybody doing the Too Cool dance.
I needed a lot more of that. If this episode were like just that and the Mae Young thing, I would have been quite happy. They start dancing in the background of Mae Young's like labor.
There need to be more chaos to that, clearly.
Yeah, I needed so much. Oh, we'll get to that anyway.
Yes. After that, Jericho and China are interviewed by Mitchell Cole as Jericho calls him.
For the briefest of seconds before
grumble, grumbledy grumble, noise.
It literally just sounded like the fucking dudes were coming in just going rabble. That's literally what it sounded like. It sounded like they were trying to sound like fucking cartoon characters.
Here comes the Radicals Specifically, Saturn. I think Saturn, Malenko, and Benoit.
Oh,
showed up.
wait, I get what's going on now. They're like Pokemon. They weren't saying rebel, they were saying radical.
Radical.
It all makes sense. It's all coming together.
Yes, it is. So the Radicals, Perry Saturn challenges Jericho, and China kind of accepts on his behalf, but it's not really clear whether or not the match is actually going to happen. It does.
Yeah, shocking, but you never know on this damn.
Then match number 3, Edge and Christian. You think you know me. You think you know me. Versus Head Cheese, which I forgot to mention about in the front half. So,
yeah.
Head Cheese is Al Snow and Steve Blackman.
Mm-hmm.
Al Snow, as you might remember, if you don't, is he's got a mannequin head called Head. And his whole thing is that when he comes out, he's like, what does everybody want? And everybody chants Head. With innuendo. Massively over. And he's in a tag team. He is in a tag team with Steve Blackman, who is like judo kendo stick guy. Who is
and no personality outside of that.
Yes. He is very super serious, but they got put together as a tag team and work together surprisingly well. So they just keep doing it, even though they don't really get along very well. And part of why they don't get along very well is because Al Snow is like, dude, you're really boring. You got to get some personality. You got to get a gimmick.
Yeah, so, Al Snow fucking doing a number from Gypsy over here.
Yeah.
You got to get a gimmick. Anyway.
So the past several weeks, he has been coming up with random stuff for Steve Blackman to do. A personal favorite of mine is when he puts a Dracula cloak on him, and he said, we can be head count.
Albert.
They're all of his, it's all stupid puns.
Albert, why have you done this?
But the thing is the thing that resonated the most with the audience, to the point they chanted at them now, even though it's not their official name, because Al Blackman didn't like it, is he took a cheese head, like one of those things you see like Green Bay Packers fans wear, just big old block of cheese as a helmet. And he puts it on him and he's like, we're head cheese.
And yeah, that's somehow it's over. Also, what the fuck was Blackman's theme music?
Oh yeah, he was trying to give him some like cool music to dance to give him that's the newest attempt at getting some personality, is to give Steve Blackman some cool jazz to dance to or something. I see. Blackman was like, this is stupid. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, he seemed none too amused by that.
Yeah, so they have their match, and Terry Runnels is coming on commentary to explain herself for being a real Jezebel.
Yeah, and
betraying the Hardy Boys.
If we're talking about failing challenges here, Jerry Lawler insta fails the "Don't be a sexist creep" to Terry Runnels challenge, mega super duper impossible, because he immediately puts his arm around her. He's like, "Oh, Terry's here!" Oh!
Yeah. He's like, Jerry Lawler got hover hand.
Yeah,
the whole match.
Except Terry kind of enables him. Like, she's just kind of acts like she's into it, which, no, objectively incorrect. Stop lying to yourself and others, Terry, please.
Heels be heels, I guess. But Terry tries to give the explanation on commentary that, she just felt underappreciated by the Hardy Boys.
Oh,
and they're like, okay, sure, I guess.
Sure. That works. Lawler's too busy focused on her boobs, and JR's too busy focused on calling her a Jezebel.
He calls her a she-devil, which he tries to lean into, and is like, I kind of like being called a devil.
Oh, stop it. Which, okay, when we get to the end of the match, I do have to say, all you talk about how Blackman totally wasn't into like the dumb shit that Al Snow put forth for him, it's kind of confusing when Terry seems to just successfully taunt him by wearing the head cheese.
Well, the thing is he's slowly kind of getting into it.
Oh my God.
Payoff to this whole angle is that he does get into it by the end.
Oh my God. No.
He finally learns to loosen up, or whatever the moral lesson that is supposed to be here.
Character arcs. He definitely has one.
But anyway, yeah, so we get to the match is fine. You know, everyone involved is a pretty good wrestler, so it's not like bad to watch.
Yeah, it's short.
Yeah. It ends when Terry Runnels, who came to the ring with a big old fucking bag, she gets off commentary and pulls out of the bag the head cheese, the cheese head.
Yep.
And she puts it on. And Terry and Steve Blackman's like, hey, what are you doing with that?
Yeah. Again, it works. I guess Steve Blackman really is slowly getting into it. Sure.
Yeah, but they use that. E and C use that to get the distraction. Edge hits the spear. Blackman is pinned. Edge and Christian get the win.
Bye-bye.
Yep. Up next is match number 4. The Rock versus the Brooklyn Brawler.
Rock squashes Brawler immediately, and I'm salty.
If you're unfamiliar, Brooklyn Brawler is one of the more famous jobbers in WWE history. So, LOL, this match was only going to go one way.
Like I said, Austin, watching Brooklyn Brawler fight is like watching Hades Town. Maybe it will turn out this time. You sit and hope that may, even though you know the outcome, you hope that maybe this time things will be different. But no, my boy continues to get duded, and it makes me sad. I would love more than anything to see Brooklyn Brawler get one over on Rock. Holy shit, that would be so funny.
So The Rock wins, and afterwards he gets the mic and he calls out Triple H and is like, you know what? I'm not ready to go back to my hotel. I'm not ready to leave New York. So Triple H, get your ass out here. And it's not for a title match. It's not for a number 1 contenders match. I'm just gonna kick your ass.
Yeah, pretty much. And Triple H obliges, and Stephanie's in tow. But then Shane shows up and kind of starts lampshading tropes of like, no, you're not gonna do this. We all know how this plays out. He's gonna try to come for you, and you're gonna accept it, and it's not gonna end. And I'm like,
yeah, Stephanie and Shane are there to try to stop.
The meta.
Stephanie and Shane are there to stop Triple H because they're like, yeah, he's gonna like goad you into putting up your title.
Yeah,
and
they understand the meta.
That.
They know how to play the game, but nobody listens to them.
Yeah, this is a real Cassandra Truth moment here.
Heyo.
And so the Rock, and so they don't fight. However, Triple H Rock does get back on the microphone and it does manage to kind of get what he wants. In that he then goads the McMahons by saying, you know, if WrestleMania is Big Show versus Triple H, then WrestleMania will absolutely suck.
Yeah.
Which JR takes offense to because he says the WrestleMania has never sucked. JR. WrestleMania sucked the year prior. WrestleMania has sucked plenty of times.
Didn't you also say it was gonna suck here? It was gonna suck this year too.
WrestleMania 2000 is not a good WrestleMania, no.
Heyo.
But Stephanie McMahon then decides that if Rock wants to make it into WrestleMania so bad, well, he's gonna get one last chance. All he's got to do is either pin Triple H or pin the Big Show tonight in a 1-on-2 handicap match.
Oh, shit, buddy.
And if he can do that, he will get his match at WrestleMania.
Wow.
And The Rock says, you sure you're on? It doesn't matter if this is my last chance at WrestleMania. He's going to win. And he's like, and then he goes, hey, jabroni, here's the phrase. If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
Hey, yup, he's still very much over. Shocker, and he's definitely getting that match tonight. Also, shocker. Yeah. Yay.
Then match number 5, Chris Jericho versus Perry Saturn.
Wait,
should have probably been the best fucking match of the episode.
It should have been. Also, wait, is the last segment or this segment where the Nostra Doofus line comes in?
He says it during this episode. He says during this match when they're talking about it. Okay. It should have been a really good match because both those guys are really talented. But it goes like 2 minutes. And they're just spend the whole episode, the whole match doing shtick and shenanigans.
Shocker.
But yes, as David alludes to on commentary, JR is just saying that he just really believes in his heart of hearts that The Rock is going to win the main event tonight. And Jerry Lawler calls him Nostradamus.
Which, like, God damn it, that was actually a funny line. Lawler!
How dare he have a funny line for once?
I don't like agreeing with it. Anytime I like anything Lawler says, it's like that one Onion article is like heartbreaking. The worst person you know made a good point.
Yep.
But yeah, good line.
Malenko immediately interferes in China, and they're just fighting on the outside. And eventually Jericho just hits the moonsault and wins. That's it.
Yeah, I know. I was super hyped for this match, and it started off looking promising, and I'm like, these are two great workers. And then I kind of blinked, and it was over because there were shenanigans, and I was like, okay, fuck.
Yeah, that was a little sad.
God damn it. See, this is why I'm like, why are we here? Because I'm watching potential energy for an hour and a half, Austin.
Yep. Sorry, but not totally sorry.
Pain. We're almost there. We're almost to the Mae Young.
In the back, in the back, D-Generation X was kind of talking about like their upcoming match later in the evening, but Billy Ass has broken his arm or something, and he's in a sling. Is my point.
Yeah.
And DX shows up and is like, you know what? Actually, you're a little weak ass bitch loser. So we're actually gonna kick your ass and throw you out.
Yeah. Triple H just kind of blows off DJ X and beats up Billy Ass. Okay.
Yep, throw him out. Okay.
Bye. No.
Here we go. We're here.
Finally.
Match number 6. Mark Henry versus Crash Holly. Immediate note is there's a sign in the crowd that says Mae Young Playmate of the Decade.
That was so good. I agree wholeheartedly. Mae Young, Playmate of the Century. I know it was only the start of the century, but fuck it. It's right.
Mm-hmm. She was the Playmate of the 20th century. I'm pretty sure she was born when it started in 1900.
Hey-o! That's Kansas.
So, the match is pretty short.
Yeah.
Because Mae Young, who I'm going to reemphasize here, is supposed to be pregnant.
In theory.
We'll get to that. She's supposed to be pregnant. And she's like, I want to do the splash like my boyfriend Mark Henry does. And so she splashes Crash Holly. Unfortunately, this somehow induces labor. Her water has broken from her doing a splash to Crash Holly.
I need to share my notes from this segment because again, another roller coaster. Because I see the sign and I just type out in all caps, Mae Young, Playmate of the Decade. True. And then below I just put, God, I love Mae. And then enter tab. Wait, did Mae just fucking induce labor on herself with that body splash? Enter tab. What? Enter tab. What? Enter tab. What? Enter tab. What?
Yeah, you can kind of do that for the rest of the segment, really.
I just, what the fuck what? And again, keep in mind, she got her pregnant belly sat on the body splash.
Yes, Viscera did the splash.
Yeah.
And Viscera is 500 pounds. He splashed her a week ago, and that apparently did nothing.
I guess it takes 2 splashes to induce labor. Very good to know. Great. I do have to shout out, I didn't really think about this till you said it, but I do have to shout out that, like, for once, shout out to WWF for really catering to the female gaze, in that Mae Young is living every, like, old woman's dream of getting to be on the arm of a cute young guy and being able to be like, this is my boyfriend. Mm-hmm. Like, every like sweet old lady jokes about that shit, and every sweet old lady like joking or like secretly pines for that shit, and Mae Young is just living that dream for all the geriatrics who watch Raw to be like, that could be me really gotta kudos to Vince for really catering to a diverse audience. You
And,
done good, buddy.
Mark Henry plays it straight.
Of course he does.
He
Because Mark Henry's the fucking best, and of course he wasn't gonna let these dumb gimmicks make him leave the company. Fuck you, Vince.
Mm-hmm. So she is taken out by an EMT who I am very suspicious of, as we'll get to in a second.
Yeah.
I don't trust this guy as a medical professional. But they gurney her out, and the match just kind of ends at that.
Yeah.
And we cut to back for commercial, and they are like wheeling her through the hallway, and eventually this EMT dude is like, no, she's not going to make it to the hospital. Just put her in here. And it's like, what?
Wait, hold up. What?
How do you know she's going to give birth in like 10 minutes? I know she's going to do that because I've seen how the segment goes. But how do you know that?
Look, he's such a professional that all it takes is one look, and he knows. He understands. Either that, or it's just we gotta throw in the most urgent soap opera dialogue ever. But it couldn't possibly be that.
But she, along with the fabulous Moolah, Gerald Briscoe, Pat Patterson, and Mark Henry, all run into a room together to like help her give birth, and we will come back to that after the next match.
Okay, so that was Pat Patterson. I wasn't entirely sure, but of course.
Yeah, Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe.
Yeah, they're all part of that squad. I shouldn't be surprised.
The old people who are still around to do comedy bit squad.
Yeah, you know what? The best squad. They are, name a better stable. I'll fucking wait. Bullet Club? No. Old folks doing comedy skits on Raw. That's the true winner right there.
It's like a bad episode of the Golden Girls.
I think you mean a very good episode of the Golden Girls. I think it's what you meant to say.
Anyway, moving on. Next match, Taz versus Chris Benoit.
Another one that could have been promising, but then shenanigans happened all over the damn place, too.
I specifically wrote a bunch of stupid nonsense happens.
See, I specifically wrote Eddie Guerrero shenanigansing all over Taz and Benoit's match. And then below that, and now it's just ... madness.
Yeah, eventually the big boss man shows up to hit Taz with his nightstick.
Sure.
And
was this a no DQ match? Did I miss that?
No, it ends in a DQ.
Oh, okay, sure, why not?
And then Boss Man and Prince Albert attack Taz, and Taz kind of fights him off long enough to hit the big Boss Man with the Taz mission, aka the Katahajime, aka the Red Room. If you're a hooker, send
a hook.
But then Albert saves the day, and then Big Boss Man gets the chair and hits Taz with a chair, and okay. I don't care about any of this because they don't care.
Now we got to go back to Mae Young giving birth. And of course, Moolah's here too, because why the fuck wouldn't Moolah be here too?
Moolah's here to be the voice of reason when Mae Young
here to be the goddamn midwife.
She is. And it's a good role for her to have. Because Mae Young, she is like freaking out. And she goes and tells Gerald Briscoe to go get her a cigar.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he leaves and does it. And he comes back, and Pat Patterson pulls out a lighter and lights it.
Yeah.
She's currently giving birth.
And Moolah's over here like, you gotta push, honey. Push it out. Come on, Mae. Push it. And Mae's fucking lighting up. What the hell? And she can't get it out. She's going, just and they can't get it out. And Briscoe,
they're making way too much. I got before we get to the punchline, I got a couple more notes to make here. They're making way too many like, ooh, this is so gross stuff from the guys who in the front, like Henry and the EMT guy. But the EMT guy makes the question, when would you last have your period? And Mae Young is like, about 1957.
So Mae Young did menopause And
Mae Young had her menopause in her mid-30s, apparently. Oh, let's actually time that one out for a second. Yeah, okay. In 1957, she was 34.
You know what? What a time! It was a different time, Austin. when it was a different time in which women hit their menopause in their mid-30s.
I guess.
And still had the fucking gumption to give birth after the fact.
Sure. Then I wrote a fart joke, really, because at one point there's a fart, and they're all like, "Ooh, gross."
Yeah, of course
But
they
then
are. But they're struggling to get the baby out. And,
they are. Oh
and
my
fucking
god!
Briscoe goes and he's like, and he goes and grabs something, and he comes back and he's like, "Will this work?" And they're trying really hard to play it off as forceps, but then it's got a fucking like Allen wrench or whatever, monkey wrench.
They
Whatever.
They got fucking head, not
like
a
one of those.
clipper,
I don't know what the
like,
hell they're called, but there's one of those like clamp wrenches that you can like adjust, and they're trying to really, really hard to make it look like forceps, but it's clearly not. And I'm like, you're going to mutilate this fucking baby.
Well, I guess that might make the next part make sense, wouldn't it? But
yeah,
okay,
that was my thought.
They add a bunch of sound effects that are very obviously sound effects.
Yeah.
But eventually,
they're like cartoons here. They're like the cartoon stretching sound, like the like what are you doing? What is this segment?
But eventually, they pull out the child. They pull out a hand. A singular hand. And the rest of the bit of the segment is Gerald Briscoe is being like, a hand? What?
Yeah, I think they say give her a hand. And everyone just kind of starts
Pat Patterson says, give her a hand, and they start clapping.
And then they cut the bit. What was that? What the fuck did we watch?
Okay, I can give you the explanation for this one. In that, Vince McMahon personally wrote this joke.
Oh, you see, here's the thing. All you needed to say were the two words Vince McMahon, and it instantly made sense.
Because Vince McMahon personally thought the idea of Mae giving birth to a hand was funny. His writers he came up with this, he wrote this bit, and his writers asked him to explain why a hand. And Vince's answer was, it's a hand.
Sage wisdom from Wrestle Daddy Vince McMahon. What? Also, we give George Lucas so much shit for being an incompetent boob who surrounds himself with yes men to enable his dumb ideas. And yet, we let Vincent K. McMahon slide because reasons, despite the fact that he does all of that shit 10 times worse, because this is exactly how the fucking Katie Vick thing was born too. Why do we keep letting Vince do this?
Is he thought this mannequin humping shit was a good idea.
He thought it was personally funny, and that's all we goddamn needed, apparently.
So yes, this is the infamous moment where Mae Young gives birth to a fucking hand.
To a hand. Okie dokie then.
And in fact, 12 years later, at Raw 1000, they make a joke about this, where they have a guy dress up in a giant hand costume and present himself as Mae Young's son.
I'm sorry, what?
Yes.
Why? What a deep cut. Why would you do that 12 years later when fucking nobody's guaranteed to remember this random ass bit?
Oh no, David. This is one of the most infamous moments in Raw history. Everybody remembers Mae Young giving birth to a hand.
What? Okay. if that happened in 2012 and they called back to it in the year of our Lord 2022, I would get it. That is like ripe timing for internet memery. How the fuck did people hold on to this long enough for it to be a meme, despite the fact that it happened in 2000? Holy shit.
Because WWE also like to keep bringing this up for bring it up as hilarious.
Vince is really proud of this joke, isn't he?
I think this is Vince's magnum opus joke. I think this is
Vince's magnum opus in his mind, period. Forget every other like thing he's done, every other moment he's helped create. This right here, Mae Young's hand child, is his. Oh my god, I fucking hate wrestling, dude.
Man, I have just been giving you some stinkers recently.
Yeah, fuck you.
Katie Vick and Mae Young hand back to back.
I will say, as I think already said, Katie Vick has like desensitized to everything else, so I'm more like bewilderedly amused by this. But still, what in the name of Mike?
Anyway, after seeing that, Dudley Boys.
Yeah. Okay. Wait, hold up. I'm sorry. I just looked up the fucking Mae Young something. What is that hand? Okay, I should not.
I didn't say it was a good hand costume.
Night
now did
terrors. I'm going to have night terrors for years now. Austin, tell me Mae Young's grown-up hand son can't hurt me.
Mae Young's grown-up hand son can't hurt you.
I don't believe you. Okay.
Well, Mae Young is dead now, so we're never going to see that hand again. So you don't worry. You don't need to worry about it.
That means he's just on the loose and we don't know his whereabouts.
I guess.
That's even scarier. Oh, God. Oh, no.
Well, they have the hand son's father in AEW, so I think maybe what we should do.
Someday, it's going to be an episode of Rampage, and Mark Henry's going to be interviewing the two people involved in the final match, and he's going to start to say it's time for the main event, and all of a sudden he just kind of starts like and topples over, and the hand son rises up, phone and thumb, going, it's time for the main event. Give it a hand, folks. And then we all just like die.
And then thankfully it is at that moment where the world ends and we all die.
Yeah, universe heat death is reached, climate change reaches its apex, and we all just spontaneously combust. We
thus never have to consider that moment ever.
You know what? I'm not surprised at all by Mae Young by Mae Young's hand son actually being the harbinger of the apocalypse. I'm not remotely shocked.
Mm-hmm.
That makes perfect sense to me. It's like giving birth to the
Antichrist,
but 10 times worse. So.
Dudley Boys.
Oh, God. Sure.
Match 8 of the show. The Dudley Boys versus Road Dogg and X-Pac for the tag titles. I wrote Bubba Ray orgasms to tables. Tori is a Jezebel and deserved Kane hitting her with a tombstone.
Yes, because of course JR had to say the word Jezebel at least once because there's duplicitous woman.
He was really trying to put over Tombstone Tori because Kane hit her with a tombstone and she's in a neck brace now. But it's okay because Kane is the good guy. So it's fine.
You can get away with anything if you're a babyface in the early 2000s.
And yes, of course, JR says that Bubba Ray gets orgasmic pleasure from putting anybody.
I believe what it is, but Bubba Ray, it gets in a euphoric, almost orgasmic state when he's going to put someone through a table. I guess.
So as I put it, Bubba Ray orgasms to tables.
Yeah.
Him and Sean Spears need to get together and kind of work out their issues on this. Because Sean Spears is the chair pervert. And Bubba Ray's a table pervert.
I feel like together they would just have the most fascinating orgies.
Well,
Also,
no more thinking of that.
Also, why are the Dudley boys the ones who keep getting the fucking lore drops?
Because they just keep saying things about the Dudley boys that are absolutely insane.
Yeah, and they've accidentally created two of the most like just interesting characters on the entire roster just by adding shit that's apparently canon to their lore. What? So the Dudley boys could just kind of become the main characters of Raw if they wanted to, and it's by deep miracle that they never fucking did.
Yep. So the match is a whole lot of whatever until X-Pac gets in.
Yeah, that's the best part. I literally like write in my notes, finally getting X-Pac in the ring. Thank you. And then he's in there for about 10 seconds before goddamn Kane shows up to murderize and everything falls to shit.
Yes, X-Pac gets in there to hit the Bronco Buster on Bubba Ray, which if you don't know what that is, it is where X-Pac aggressively shoves his cock and balls into the face of a guy in the corner. It's like a reverse stink face. As I put it, X-Pac starts teabagging Bubba Ray.
Yeah, cool.
And then Kane shows up and kicks everybody's asses. Except X-Pac, because we're still getting to the X-Pac beating. But he choke slams Road Dogg, then he choke slams both the Dudleys.
He's working his way there. He'll be there soon enough.
And then we get an actual Mick Foley tribute video.
Yeah.
Shows the highlights of his career, the ups and the downs. It was very sweet.
Always weird to see these tribute videos when you know motherfuckers coming back. That's oh man, hindsight's a bitch, but you know, whatever.
At the time I'm sure it was very touching.
Yeah. I mean, good to see Mick Foley getting the love he deserves. He is a wonderful boy, and he actually gets some of the like adulation he so desperately deserves. So good on you for that, I guess. Even though you immediately dragged his ass back for Mania, but hey, Mick Foley main eventing Mania, that's still kind of
that's pretty sweet as well.
Complicated feeling. If you will.
It is the Big Show and Triple H versus The Rock in our main event.
And it sure goes well for The Rock.
Yeah, it kind of plays out the way you probably expect it to.
Well,
Rock,
it mostly does.
Let's not get to the ending yet.
I know, but
but you know, the main body of the match, so to speak, is The Rock is kicking ass as best he can, but it's still a 2-on-1 against two guys who are top guys in their own right. So it's not easy, but eventually The Rock starts beating ass. He knocks everybody down, and then he hits Triple H with the rock bottom. Wow,
Jesus!
And he sets up for the people's elbow. The crowd is going crazy. He throws the armband into the crowd. He runs and he hits the people's elbow. It's over. A 1, a 2, a 3, except Shane McMahon also gets it. It's over. So he runs in and attacks The Rock. DQ win for The Rock. Fuck you.
Yeah, that's the best part. He goes for the pop on the people's elbow, hits the people's elbow, effectively gets the pin, except he wins by DQ because fucking Shane McMahon runs in and just bodies him. For some reason.
I am a little curious how they play that then next week. Actually,
I imagine
whether they argue he didn't pin him,
Triple H looked none too pleased.
Like, are they gonna make The Rock do something else, or are they gonna be like, actually, it's a DQ win, dumbasses? The Rock won the match. He's in the main event.
Yeah, fuck you. Oh well, see, here's the thing. I was thinking about this when you mentioned it earlier because when they issued this challenge halfway through the show to The Rock, they did specify that The Rock could get in by pinning one of them, which he very technically didn't do.
He did not pin him. He won by disqualification.
Yeah. I do wonder if they'll be smart enough to play with that language. Okay, that's what you meant. Yeah, I do wonder.
Yes, that's what I meant. It's like, are they going to be, is it going to be like I said you had to pin him, Rock, you didn't count? Or are they going to be like, it kind of counts because he won the match?
It's gonna go one of two ways. Probably the second way. I'm thinking it's either gonna be like they try to pull one over on The Rock, but someone lets The Rock get away with it anyway. Or they demand a rematch, and Rock is like, sure, fuck you, and he gets it clean this time, whatever.
Yeah, but regardless, the show ends with the Shane and Triple H and Big Show beating Rock's ass, and Show hits a choke slam on The Rock and gloats at him that he's gonna go to he's gonna be in the main event of WrestleMania. And that's it.
Yep, the end.
Yep, that is the end of the show. So
Yeah.
a bit of a one moment show this was.
Nah. 2 moments. How could you ever forget? How could you ever fucking forget the incredible, the deeply emotionally affecting flash mob between Too Cool, Rikishi, China, and Jericho?
That's true. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. 2 moments. Excuse you. That was great, and I will never see anything in wrestling better than that.
Yeah. Otherwise,
and then Mae Young gave birth to the Holy Terror.
Gave birth to a hand. Well, I told you we were getting the one exception to this wrestling pregnancy shit, and here we are.
That sure is a way to do it, I guess.
The whole angle was weird to me because Mae Young doesn't act like she's pregnant. As
they didn't even give
her
a bump,
and she doesn't look pregnant. They don't. They don't give her a bump or anything. They're just like, yeah, she's pregnant.
Yeah. So what?
Very tell don't show about this one.
Do they do anything with this angle afterward, or do they just
drop it? They absolutely never talk about this again.
So they did this whole shit, and then they just don't bring it up again, except for like memes down the line because it got famous.
Yes.
Then what the fuck? This was all for a single dumb joke, Vince? Are you shitting me?
Yes.
Vince
it was all for the bit, for the joke.
I hate wrestling. I deeply hate wrestling.
Well, I will attempt next time. We will attempt to get you to love wrestling again. Because next time we will be returning to the AEW Women's Eliminator Tournament.
Oh, promise. Please,
we have finished the first round for both the Japanese side and the American side. Next time we will cover the second round.
Okay. I can do that. I think I can fall in love again. I think I'm ready.
Until then, David, hit our plugs.
Yes, sir. All right, my friends, my dear friends. Thank you all so much for once again joining us on yet another episode of the Noobs and Knockouts podcast. We are so delighted to have you here. If you are a returning listener, viewer, what have you, thank you so much for once again welcoming us back into your eardrums, your eyeballs, whatever you use to consider our content. We are so glad you're here. If you are a first-time listener, viewer, what have you, welcome. We here at the Noobs and Knockouts podcast like to think we are friendly to both noobs and knockouts alike. So whether you are a longtime wrestling fan or brand new to this whole wild, wacky world, we hope you feel welcome here. We hope everything feels accessible. We hope you've had a good time. We hope you want to continue to have a good time with us many weeks down the road. If you would like to continue to have a good time with us and you're not entirely sure how to do so, not to worry, my friends, I have you covered. First of all, you can find us on YouTube. We are the Noobs and Knockouts podcast on YouTube. Hit subscribe, ring that bell, make turns a nice little salad color so you get notifications every single time we drop a brand new episode. Like, comment, subscribe, check out our playlist, add us to your playlist. We do have all of our eras and companies, etc., that we follow, all broken down to these lovely little playlists so you can kind of follow things around, having to jump around. It's great. And of course, in more recent episodes, you can see our lovely faces added to it, our wonderful, sexy, brand new VOD that looks all cool and actually kind of like professional and fancy. It's great. So be sure to check us out on YouTube if you like using your eyeballs to consume the Noobs and Knockouts podcast. If you're an audio only fan, however, don't you worry, we have you covered there too, because you can listen to the Noobs and Knockouts podcast on 3 of the best places to find your podcast: Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. Check us out there. Like us, download us, rate us, review us. I know Spotify recently added a rating system. If you could drop a 5-star rating there and anywhere else, just let people know, hey, these guys are pretty dope. We think more people should listen to them. I don't know. Just saying. Greatly appreciated. Come check us out on those platforms as well. If you would like to get in contact with us past just listening to our wonderful dose of tones week after week, there are three main places to do so. First of all, of course, is our Twitter. You can find us on Twitter at Noobs and Knox Pod. That's at Noobs, the letter N, Knox Pod on Twitter. Come say hi to us over there. We do tons of stuff over on the Twitter. We drop dank memes. We engage with wrestling fandom discourse. We interact with all your favorite stars and all the other podcasts and all that good stuff. And of course, the highlight. And of course, we post every single time we drop a new episode, so you guys know what the hell's going on. I'm out of practice. And of course, the highlight of our Twitter for real this time, weekly wrestling live tweeting. My friend, what is on the docket coming up?
As usual, every Wednesday night at TBS on 8 p.m. Eastern is AEW Dynamite. Both me and David are actually watching that live. I usually do the live tweeting when I'm unavailable, as I have been for the last several months. This is going to be my first live Dynamite in quite a while.
Austin was in a play. He was really good.
I was. As David will fill in for me when available. But in addition, I also cover AEW, WWE, and Impact Wrestling pay-per-views. So, upcoming is WrestleMania 38 on April 2nd and April 3rd. I'm also going to say right now, I don't know if I'm going to commit to this, and maybe saying it on the podcast will make me think about it. But also, if you don't know, there are a shitload of indie shows that take place on WrestleMania weekend. People piggybacking off of WrestleMania weekend, and the fact that suddenly these big cities are now have like 70,000 more wrestling fans in it. And they're all pretty fucking sweet. And so I intend to watch some of those indie shows that weekend. And if I may talk about a few of them, maybe even live tweet some, keep a thought on that one. But for WrestleMania itself, night 1, April 2nd. So we have Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's title. Rey Mysterio and his son Dominic versus The Miz and Logan Paul.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
Not even the only celebrity match on the show. Drew McIntyre versus Baron Corbin. All right.
Okay.
The Usos versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs.
Okay, that actually does sound pretty
tag
dope.
Team title. Yeah,
that actually does sound pretty fucking dope.
That's gonna be sweet. Then April 3rd, so far we have Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns in a title for title winner takes all match.
Yay.
Yeah. A triple threat match for the women's tag titles is Zelina and Carmella take on Sasha Banks and Naomi and Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan. Interesting.
Okay.
Then we have Johnny fucking Knoxville versus Sami Zayn.
Yep.
That feud has actually been kind of insane and entertaining because Sami Zayn's a really good guy, really good entertainer. So you know what? Not bad. He's really selling it.
If anyone can make Knoxville in WWE work, it's Sami Zayn.
Yep. Pat McAfee, SmackDown commentator and former NFL kicker, taking on Austin Theory as a proxy for Vince McMahon. And then Edge versus AJ Styles. That's just going to be sweet.
Yeah, that'll be pretty dope.
And in addition, we have RK Bro, that is Randy Orton and Riddle, in a tag team match for the Raw tag titles. They haven't determined the opponent yet. And I'm sure there will be more matches added as the weeks continue.
Seth Rollins is probably going to be doing something, and I feel like...
Oh, yes, I forgot. Is that the KO show has been announced, where Kevin Owens is going to have a talk show segment with Stone Cold Steve Austin, because Kevin Owens has been talking shit about Texas. So I can already tell you how this is going to go.
Yeah, I wonder.
And they keep swearing that the plans are that Seth Rollins is going to wrestle Cody Rhodes. And is he going to fucking happen? I don't know, man.
Adrenaline in my soul. Still no plans on Cody Rhodes.
That's better than what I was thinking, so good job.
Hey.
That's WrestleMania 38, and I took all that time for that one because I really don't have as much to say about the other stuff.
Yeah,
so Impact Wrestling, their next pay-per-view is April 23rd at Rebellion. They only have 2 matches so far. It is Moose versus Josh Alexander for the Impact Championship. That'll be pretty sweet. And Trey Miguel versus Austin Aries versus someone to be determined for the X Division title. That's going to be really cool. Also, we're going to talk about shows that are during happening WrestleMania weekend to keep an eye on. Is Impact Wrestling is doing the multiverse of matches.
Oh shit!
Where they are trying to do like cross company matches only, and that's going to be really cool.
Fuck. That's going to be cool.
I don't have the card for that pulled up immediately, but that's just hawking shit for Romania weekend. And then AEW just did Revolution, their most recent pay-per-view.
Yes.
So their next pay-per-view is May 29th, Double or Nothing. So I obviously don't really have anything for that, except to say that they've already announced that they will be doing a Owen Hart Memorial Cup tournament for both the men and the women, and both of those tournament finals will be at Double or Nothing.
Fucking yes. I'm so hyped.
Yep, and that is what is coming up on the wrestling Twitter.
Hell yeah. So be sure to check all that out. It's a great time over on the live tweeting. Austin's obviously great with his live tweeting. He's the knockout after all. He's very funny, very insightful. I take the reins. I'm just kind of like shooting the shit, doing my usual color commentary that I do on the show. I am the noob after all. Either way, I like to think he and I are both delightful people to spend your time watching wrestling with. So regardless, we hope you guys join us over there and have a great time at Noobs and Knox Pod on Twitter. Then, of course, there is our email address. If you want to get in super duper direct contact with us, come directly say hi. You can email us at noobsandknockoutspod@gmail.com. That's noobs, the word and this time, knockoutspod.com. Come say hi. Tell us what you think about the show, what you like, what you don't like, things you want to see more of, less of, suggestions, requests for eras, companies, wrestling, tangential media things in general, whatever. We just want to hear from you. Come yell at us for our hot takes or tell us that you listen to our sweet dulcet tones lull you to sleep every single night. Whatever it is, we love hearing from people. We love people saying hi. We would love to say hi back. So if you want to just come talk to us, come hang out. noobsandknockoutspod@gmail.com. And of course, finally, there is our Patreon account. We are also the Noobs and Knockouts podcast on Patreon. $1 a month gets you early access to episodes and a shout out at the end of each episode.
See y'all next time.
Hasta luego.